We are back on Offsite Dirt. This is when we get a chance to connect with the contributors that are. We're all busy people. We're doing lots of things, going to different events, and this is our opportunity to kind of share on some of our amazing experiences. Because I can tell you from my aspect, I was down in Portland at the Mass Timber Conference, and there's some really interesting things happening in all of our different worlds. But it's always nice to step into Portland where the Mass Timber Conference, it's a special conference for me. I feel like Ernie and the team there, they service us. Before I get into that though, let's meet everyone else that's here and I'll come back and talk about my March, maybe a little bit of February because I'm a bit behind with the team here. It's been exciting times and you're on Offsite Dirt. Audrey, what's going on with you?
Well, thank you. I love being here. And yes, very exciting things going on in March. We got to go to the World of Modular, which for me was an outstanding experience, my first time ever. Just wonderful meeting so many industry leaders, manufacturers, some new data and technologies that were there. The energy was electric. It was in Orlando, Florida. Just super excited to be in that world again, just the world of modular. It was really cool too. Kent Anderson from Wesco was there with us and they had a booth and we ended up having to do a recap. So make sure you check out our YouTube channel to see more about that event and also advancing prefab. We did another recap of that event with Sneha. And just so you might know, we also got to have the opportunity to meet Amy Marks, who's the queen of prefab, and do a little bit with her and find out more about Symmetry, Autodesk, and the technology platforms that are really revolutionizing the pre-construction and industrialized construction industry. So with that being said, Sneha, how are you doing? How's your March going?
Awesome. Hey, thank you. First of all, I missed the past 2 months. So, Shaun, I'm right there with you. Lots of updates that I probably haven't shared with everyone here, but I'm so glad I could make it this month. And great to see all of you. Been long. Let's talk about advancing prefab. Thank you, Audrey, for motivating me and actually getting me there. That was a great conference. I got to meet, so I did go to Advancing Prefab last year and I made it this year. And so I got to meet some old friends and I got to make some new friends. But the highlight was meeting Amy Marks in person, the queen of prefab. So shout out. I guess we have like, I don't know, so many posts just highlighting that. So super excited to meet her just up close and front. Got a chance, got some FaceTime with her. It was amazing. She's always so inspiring, a boss lady leading the way for future women leaders. So love that. I got a chance to sit in some very cool sessions talking about lean construction. The highlight was actually them sharing live examples of how they have been using lean in some of their factories, which is so cool, right? Like we keep talking about principles and ways, but just getting to know live stories from customers, factories doing it. That's the icing on the cake. That's the best part. So got to learn a little bit about factories and super since the topic in itself, as you can see here, lean construction, my show. So since I keep talking about this and super passionate about it, it's just always I'm just always curious, inquisitive about questions. How did they make this happen? So I was able to interact with the session leaders there. That was super great. And one point that I wanted to make was one thing, I had decided every time I come back on this show, I'm going to talk about one tenet of lean. And today I just wanted to talk about one of the un unexplored waste in concepts of lean, which is not utilizing our employees' potential, right? There's a lot of potential. So, lean talks about 8 kinds of waste, and one is actually untapped potential. So, let's see if any of you out there listening to this is actually taking the time to learn more about employees. And always remember, lean cannot ever be successful with our doers buying into this concept. changing the culture. So that's one lean aspect that I always highly encourage my clients, my customers to focus on. So if you are listening to this, please drop me something in comments, a strategy that you're using. It could be something as simple as brainstorming. It could be something as simple as a 10-minute daily stand up or a Gemba that you did on the floor on site, just walked through the station, saw something that came up and improved their lives. So yeah, would love to hear stories if you're listening to this. And yeah, other than that, things have been great. And I'm super, super happy to be back. I hope to be back again next month. But what's up with you, Joe?
Well, it's been a pretty exciting month here. Mostly helping folks, with their existing properties, like I do around here with Insight Property Services in the Chicagoland area. We got to go visit a church, which was a pretty interesting. Churches are very interesting buildings. They have a lot of legacy systems, which is to say, a lot of stone and single pane windows and really old stuff. This particular church had a 5 million BTU steam boiler, and the ductwork was like catacombs underneath the church. So the air would flow through these catacombs and be recirculated, up into the space. And the big return ducts were right next to where the organ was. So it was just wild, because you're looking at something like, I've seen this before, but much smaller, and so to see it kind of scaled up. But it was interesting, they're like, oh, we want an energy audit. And I was like, let's start with a walkthrough. I'm pretty sure it's like, doctors, somebody saying, I need to, get a whole health regimen going on. Like, let's start with just a quick little visit here. Chances are we could probably find some big opportunities for improvement, some really low hanging fruit. So that was interesting. And then the next day we're testing passive house windows, an install. So we got to work with a passive house window installer and company, and just to make sure that they're doing offsite construction. So the panelized units would come onto site, and they just wanted to make sure that everything was, in the transport, they weren't losing anything. So we tested a handful of windows. So, and everything in between, home inspections, home performance testing on existing homes, and generally just trying to help people make the existing housing stock perform better. So that's what's been going on with my March.
Super cool. I actually wanted to mention that I literally met someone a few hours ago who actually spoke about doing modular clean rooms. That was amazing.
Ah,
And some of these clean rooms were some of the big tech that I'm not sure if I can share here, but some of the big firms, and they just started in this startup, and they're doing this whole modular clean rooms. And I was so fascinated by the things that he was sharing. So Justin, shout out to you here. We just met a few hours ago, and I really look forward to staying in touch because this is, a more controlled environment, and just seeing modular go in those fields is something new that I explored. So I'm was super pumped to hear more about it. But since you were talking about that, this was something unique that I learned about today.
excellent. A lot of neat stuff out there.
Yeah, I know, great stuff. And where we're looking at on our improvements, you'll appreciate this, is quarterly planning sessions, not just reviews. And so I just wrapped up a really nice new document for our team to, again, do that quarterly assessments and staff connections and making sure that we're working on continuous improvement. It's not just sitting down for a cup of coffee anymore. Now we got to do the right form, fill out the right info, and make sure we're connecting, collaborating, and having those tougher, good discussions of both quantitatively and qualitatively, and managing it all. So yeah, again, as long as we're continuous improvement and using those lean practices, I think we're moving the dial forward. But yeah, my big thing this year, just my phrase, is repeatable system, and that comes down to that consistency and just put a lot of things that we talk about here into practice. So yeah,
Right.
Audrey, love that you guys had a great time at World of Modular. Again, what's nice about our community is sometimes if we can't be there ourselves, just how we can connect and kind of live vicariously through you all. And at Mass Timber Conference, it's the lovely new lid that I got from our friends over at uh, Simpson Strong Tie. They had a really nice booth and, a company that has a lot of the fasteners that we use in mass timber to connect all these big beams and big structures. Um, One of the reasons I like that conference is they kind of like currently like they're in that succession plan of the original group that have been at it for 8 years and now trading it off to a next generation is um, you're well fed at this conference. You have a lot of time to connect and collaborate with and connect with people. And yes, there's amazing amounts of research and information being shared. But the fourth one is just connecting with students and making sure that students have a platform at these conferences, which is great. And you talk about innovation. Like last year, the keynote speaker was Michael Green, and he talked about kind of like this fifth element where ideally, if you're going to build something, you could get it from a farm. So any uh, organic material like straw based or wood or bamboo could be turned into some type of structural material. But what's cool is like he had this great presentation, talked about how we can build locally around the world, and then the students at the Tallwood Institute, which is a combination of Oregon State College and Oregon University, literally had built the structure. They did this, got waste from a mass ply company in Oregon and put all these scraps together in a big slab. And then with this really amazing 5-axis router, you know, created this panel and these columns and put it together. And you're like, okay, that's how fast innovation is flowing. That's a keynote speaker could say something, and 12 months later, not just industry, but students could bring a product to the marketplace. It's just things are moving so fast and furious. And as soon as I walked up to these students and saw this mock, I was like, you guys will always be employed. If you're moving this fast and being that in tune to industry, you're going to have a successful career.
So
If
wasn't
they're, if,
there, oh, I'm
I
sorry,
was
go
just saying,
ahead.
if they're not employed, they'll start a company,
Yeah, I kind of just said
right? They're
like
not, they're
I
gonna wait
just was
around.
I asked them to. I'm like, what's your options? If not, call me.
Right?
Awesome. What was going on with the girls' garage?
Yes, so that was a keynote presentation that was very memorable this year. So the first one on the Wednesday was kind of more industry based. The second one had Emily from Girls Garage, and I tell you, the story that she put together of just her career of being an architect, at work one day designing these stores, or just kind of like the same type of store that gets put out in every major mall. She just got bored, and so kind of like left that meeting, went to her desk, had lunch, and was like, you know what, I'm out. And she quit and was really involved in trying to, teach the youth and especially girls. And so ended up putting a program together where, yeah, girls have a place to learn about the either construction or welding. I mean, the coolest story she shared is, she taught this 10-year-old how to weld. And afterwards, the kid's like, if I can weld, I can do anything. And one of the empower things is like you're going to use this tool, and it's like using lightning, so you're going to be connected to the superpower. And she's like, thanks, Emily. Like I feel like a superwoman. I can do anything now that you've been able. And this is a child that's 10 years old that's now really bought into the trades, and just a really cool program. So hopefully more girls garages will be starting up, but it's currently in Berkeley, and just a fabulous story, great human. And again, all of the girls that are in that program are definitely blessed to be part of that really cool program. So yeah, very inspiring story that was shared. And one of the things that Arnie is trying to do as well is again look at diversity and inclusion. And at the conference, I think he said that 46% of the people attending the event were women. And so the fact that 2 are in the trades, 12% are in construction, there's a lot of a targeting market to bring a lot of different people to the Mass Timber Conference. It's really exciting. I'd say about 70% were architects and designers, and I'm happy with that because if they're out there specifying and seeing how to convert their buildings from concrete and steel to mass timber, exciting times.
That's really cool. Wielding lightning to fabricate the future, right?
Yeah, that's exactly kind of how she phrased it. You said it a lot better than I did, but yeah. And even in the corner, every day they fabricate a two-story mass timber structure and then disassemble it all in one day. And so, yes, it's a slower process because it's indoors and they got a lot of eyes on them. But it's pretty cool to be like, how does this go together? Oh, I'll just go over here and watch it. And it's real life. So it's a great conference.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I have to say, wasn't Mark Willie there with you?
He did. He did make a surprise, and it was fun because he hasn't traveled to a couple of states in the U.S., and Oregon was one of them that he hadn't been to yet, and so he was able to connect. And we spent all of Wednesday connecting with all the different suppliers and manufacturers on the show floor, and some really insightful stuff. Again, you talk about deconstruction, for example. He's got good friends at Urban Machine that have a machine that is able to pull the nails out from a kind of a robotic type process. And next door, again, you've got another company that are making panels out of waste mass timber products. And so you just look at that full circular system of, talk about waste right there, is being able to pull it into another process or another product or another company. It's pretty cool of how
I'm
they're.
so glad. I'm so glad that you were at that Mass Timber show, and we have a special guest, Erin Wilmette, that will be doing a small little recap with you, Shaun. So thank
Yep.
you for making that happen. It's always exciting to get somebody else's perspective, and Erin has a wide, vast knowledge of not only architecture but also working for large companies and standardizing products. So it'll be fun to see both of you speaking together. I can't wait for that video to come up. So Sneha, I know that you've got some projects and things that you're working on. Any other big things happening for April or May or the next couple of months on your calendar?
Yeah, definitely looking to meet more folks. Hopefully, I can make it to the open house that you're planning soon, and hopefully meet new potential modular builders. I actually got invited to two factory visits. One is actually here, so I'm like in the works and planning that. So I'm looking forward to that's definitely happening April, May. So some exciting stuff, just being able to go to the factory, see things happen, like boots on the ground is something that excites me. So definitely looking forward to that. Of course, Merlin is growing. We have like AI is just everywhere. And we are trying to make the most of AI and trying to help the modular factories be more productive. So that's definitely coming along from a product side. But yeah, I mean, exciting times, all about growth onwards and upwards from here.
And Joe, any new projects coming up that are exciting for you? I know last time we spoke, you saw a modular manufacturer and you were doing testing there and it came up pretty positive. I know that you're also doing training programs. Where is a lot of your concentration for April, May, June?
April is, well, there's the National Home Performance Conference that focuses on, again, trying to improve the already built environment. And so that's going on in Minneapolis next week. So I thought I was going to be able to get out there, but family demands put the kibosh on that. So we'll have to live vicariously through other friends and colleagues that have made it out to that show. So I'll pick their brains and see if we can't find the little gold nuggets that showed up during that show. And then, yeah, we do have some the BPI building analyst technician training. Yeah, we've got a lot more contractors are trying to get into the programs to be able to pass on those incentives to existing homeowner or owners of existing homes to make their homes more airtight, better insulated. There's a big push to by folks to decarbonize, to move at least a few steps closer to all electric. It's not something that you can flip the switch on, for most homes. And the vast majority of homes need to do a lot of building enclosure work, right? It's not just a matter of going, oh, I'm going to take my giant, gas boiler and turn it into a heat pump. Like, it's not how that works, man. That is not how that works. Like, I have to tell people, like, your building has got like a 10,000, it's like Michael Phelps. He's eating 12,000 calories a day, right? You better be eating sticks of butter and jars of peanut butter, right? That's the only way you're gonna get those calories. Otherwise, if it was gonna be lettuce, you'd be chewing all day. So, but I want my house to be on a heat pump. I'm like, okay, man, you want to feed your house lettuce? That's great, but got to get that calorie count down to 2,000 a day, right? So we got to put the house on a diet first, and then we can switch over to heat pump, whether it's hydronic or forced air or whatnot. So we have to have frank conversations with folks. You can't buck physics. I mean, there's you can't just say, let's make it all electric. Like, you got single pane windows, brick walls, no insulation. We need to do something at building enclosure. The physics are just going to kick you in the teeth otherwise. So, but you have to do that in a way where it's almost like it's their idea, so that they are like, so I'm thinking we should probably improve our building enclosure first. That's a great idea. Good thing you thought of that. I mean, the people have to buy in, right? Otherwise they're fighting and then they'll hook up with somebody that's going to sell them snake oil. But first the building enclosure, then we move on with the mechanical systems. And so it's just about trying to figure out where people are in where the buildings are in the process, and figuring out what's the next most logical cost-effective step for them to make. And they also want some payback, right? Some people they want to feel like they did something. They want to feel that result. So we got to give them a comfort improvement. We got to show them, some a lower cost of operation, some bling shiny thing that they can show off to their friends, like new windows. Although so again, depends on what kind of building you're dealing with, but we're trying to make sure that people, I say first direction and then magnitude, right? I don't need you, going full force in the wrong direction. So let's get you dialed in first, to figure out what the path is, and then we're going to see how far and how quickly we can get down that path. So, but 3.5 million homes in the Chicagoland area, we're whacking at them bit by bit. So, and the trainings are great because now I multiply the message, right? Everybody else in the group is, or all the other students are now, they are also spreading that message to other people. So, oh, it looks like we lost Sneha.
Yep, she had to jump off,
Okay.
but you bring up a good point, and I think Shaun could probably relate to this. It's all about the plan. It's about the education, putting the plan in place, and having the education behind someone with your expertise, Joe. And I think it's valuable that you explain these are the processes. Yes, we all want to get there, but this is the logical way of doing it and the best way to do it. So I appreciate you taking the time with individuals and then doing these trainings and expressing the education to allowing people to know what's the best route.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's a fun
no,
challenge.
that education piece is so critical, right? I mean, just having, I think that's been kind of my kind of default the last couple of years, is just trying to figure out, how to say it better, how to engage people, how to give them like that elevator pitch with the teacup, and they like the teacup, then we get up the jug, and they like the jug, then it's the fire hose of high performance, and just, making sure we don't blow them away, but that they, like you said earlier, is, oh, maybe they will phrase it in a way that they think it's their idea. Okay, great. Like, I don't care how you get there. Either you
Right.
sip the Kool-Aid or I, shower with you. Just need to figure it out so we can be doing better. Yeah, you know what? Like the last 2 months, though, from connecting with you guys as well, there's been a lot of stuff. Like there's been a little bit of a lull before things, because in April we had Buildex in Vancouver. We then had the Builder Show in Vegas. Then in March we had a Passive House conference in 24 hours. We went around the world with some of our good friends. Then locally we had the typical home show, right? Like all that stuff just takes time. and then being mass timber during spring break. Really great times, great events, and a lot of like BS and beer events. A lot of the building science knowledge is going to be happening here in April. So I'll be in Toronto connecting with our friends. And then a lot of their friends right now are on their way to Germany, or sorry, to Austria, to Innsbruck, for the Passive House conference, the International Passive Conference. So lots of great stuff going on, and we can't be there at every event, and that's why it's neat to have a collaboration like this, especially here at Offsite Dirt, where we can share and connect. And your good friend Audree Tim, got to see him in Mass Timber, and
Yeah, he was a speaker. Tim Seams did a speaking, right? When he was on a panel or something.
yeah, so we got to connect and chat, and
Good.
so again, a lot of great people that we, sometimes we might not see each other, but sometimes there's that person in the middle that saw you in real life before we see each other. So it's great.
I have to say, you and Mark do such a fabulous job. You did so many lives. I was trying to follow you guys and watch you, and the amount of booths and the amount of education and amount of product, it was spectacular, because we all want to be at these things, but we only have limited time, and there's so many events in the first quarter. It's pretty insane. And
Yeah.
speaking of events, Edie has a story that's coming up about a owner of a home that actually built with B Public Prefab's panel system in California. So we have that interview coming up. Sneha's interview is coming up. We've got some interviews with some high performance coming up. I talked to Helm Construction. I also have a builder that actually turned into a developer. So we're definitely engaged. Luckily for us too, we are speaking this, actually we're speaking at FrameCAD. They're doing an event called Building a Modular Future. ABC Collective also invited us to a coffee chat where we're going to be speaking about really the initiatives of what's happening with energy efficiencies in commercial and industrialized construction and modular construction. On April 17th, Green Builder Media has a sustainable symposium. Please go to our events calendar. Also on April 17th, Karen and I got invited to Latitude, which is a regenerative real estate group. And we're doing a 1-hour presentation on the pulse of modular, the modular movement. So we're trying to post a lot of these on Offsite Dirt's event calendar. Also, make sure that you connect with us on LinkedIn. Each one of us are there. And if you go onto Offsite Dirt, you can go to, it's the sponsorship page. And then if you click on it, you'll be able to see the About Us. So you can see, Aaron's on there. You can see Cy, you can see John, you can see Edie, you can see Karen, you can see all of our contributors and kind of know a little bit more about their industry and what their professional expertise is in. So if you ever have questions, you can always get those answered. So lots of good things that are happening for Offsite Dirt and our construction team. It makes me so proud that everybody takes the time to go out there, meet people, exchange ideas, education, and bring us into those conversations. We were also lucky enough to be at a media panel with Dave Barista from Building Design Construction, and also Steve Landertain with Zonda Media, and Dave Cooper. So the four of us got to be on a panel and kind of educate people about how do you get into media? How do you tell a story? What's important about your story, and why would other media companies want to pick it up? So it's exciting time for us to be around and being able to express these messages. But in closing, is there anything else, Joe, that you'd like to add?
Keep building the network, keep spreading the word. There's a lot of work to be done out there, both in new construction and in making our already built environment better, making it more relevant for the next 50 to 100 years. We can't be knocking everything down and starting from scratch. So what we do build should be built high performance, and maybe even offsite modular. Why not? It builds in consistency. And we're seeing, like I mentioned with a builder I talked about last time, they're training a whole new workforce indoors, right? And so they can focus on the skills that it takes to put these homes together without having to deal with crazy commutes and dealing out with the weather and dealing with snow and mud and everything. I mean, it's mud season here in Chicago. all right, we're getting just enough moisture that everything's sticky. So to be able to just, you know, show up to a job site in a building is great. And I tell you what, you know, from the quality control standpoint, I'd much rather, if I were in the process of building something, offsite construction would definitely be the way. I want to show up on site, come together, and be dried in a matter of hours, if not days, you know? So, anyway, yeah, just, we're just going to keep spreading the word and letting people know that, high performance is possible. No good reason not to do it. So, how about you, Shaun? What do you got?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said there. We're moving in a great direction. It's great to see, you know, when we go to these events and, you know, all of us get to go. But as I said earlier too, it's great to see the next generation getting on board and getting the right resources and getting, you know, free passes or whatever it takes for them to show up. And then also then to show up and they tell their own story. Really exciting to see their creativity. And again, you know, they haven't maybe have felt some of the boundaries that we have as we've gotten older, wiser, and all that fun stuff. So a lot of great things happening so far in 2024 and more great things happening. But of course, you can always check it out on the events page at Offsite Dirt. And if Audree, I think we've hit our time, so I'm going to hit the ejection button, and we can all carry on with the hard work that we need to do to keep building better. And of course, as you said, Joe, building with Offsite, building high performance, it's the way to go. Take care, everyone. See you next time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Audrey.